In his defence, he tried. By Ghostwithabow. Hitoshi, tell me in your exact words how you told them that we were dating, Izuku hisses. Hitoshi isn't very good at communicating. Are you sure it's okay? Izuku asks yet again. Hitoshi glances at his boyfriend, soon-to-be fiancé, with a flat look on his face. If it's not okay with them, I'm going to disown them, he reassures again. Izuku glances down at his suit, dark grey with a deep green tie that matches his hair and eyes, with pursed lips and furrowed brows. Izuku's anxiety has always been pretty bad about even the most mundane of things. Meeting his parents must be setting the poor guy through the roof with anxiety. It's just... Izuku cuts himself off. Pauses. Thinks for a moment. They've never asked about me before now. Meeting them for the first time out of the blue, only to ask if it's okay that I marry you, it doesn't seem very polite. He sighs. This, at the very least, he can understand. It is incredibly strange that his parents haven't asked about Izuku at all, beyond the surface level, where does he live so I can pick you up, and he's not a serial killer, right, type of things. He never took his parents as discriminatory against quirks, or rather that thereof, but that was the only explanation he could muster for why they seemed to dislike Izuku so much. They're the ones who never wanted to meet you before, he says with a shrug. Hopefully it comes across as casual instead of anxious, like he's feeling, God, listening to Izuku worry about how every little thing can go wrong is going to make him worry too. If they're upset, they can suck it up. After a moment of silence, Izuku drops his gaze to the floor. These are the only people that you've thought of as your parents since you were 4. I don't want to take that away from you, just because they share the same viewpoint as the rest of society, Izuku whispers. The same wrong viewpoint as the rest of society, he shoots back. He moves closer to Izuku and takes him into a careful hug. Besides, I don't want to associate with the type of person who would disagree with a wedding just because they dislike quirkless people. Even if we weren't dating, I would disown them for discrimination. And after a moment, if and only if they're actually discriminating. Who knows? Maybe they're just oblivious to about us dating. At this, he finally earns a snort out of Izuku. He lets himself smile at the small victory. Yeah, the guy you share an apartment with since graduation that is totally straight is just your best friend. Rose, if you will, Izuku drawls. It's not like you've mentioned having an office in our 2-bedroom apartment. I just sleep on the couch. Hitoshi offers a laugh of his own in return. Well, you are the only one who could fit on the couch. If I tried to sleep on it, my feet will dangle right off. Izuku swats his arms. Because you're stupidly tall, not because I'm short. Hate to break it to you, but both my dads are taller than me. He groans. In all truth, Hitoshi is just as nervous, if not more, as Izuku about the whole meeting the parents thing. Ever since he told his parents, Shoto Aizawa and Hisashi Yamada, about dating Izuku, they'd never really talked to him about it. They sort of went on with their day without so much of a passing glance. They barely asked about Izuku, and only when Hitoshi mentions him. Never anything like how they met, how they're doing, what Izuku does for work. All surface-level questions that you might ask someone's friend that they met on Craigslist. It makes Hitoshi massively uncomfortable, but he never really knew how to broach the topic of conversation with his parents. And now he and Izuku are 21. 4 years of dating under their belt, fantasizing about marrying and getting ready to get engaged. After Izuku probably meets Hitoshi's parents. God, what a mess. The restaurant that Hitoshi chose is a nice one. Really nice, in fact. Hopefully it will show that he and Izuku are stable and ready for marriage. Or at least that's his hope. He was truthful to Izuku when they were getting ready. If his dad and papa hate quirkless people, he's willing to drop them in a heartbeat, but Izuku was also right. Dad and papa were the first people since Hitoshi was 4 that he could really see as family. They fostered him partway through his first year and adopted him the moment he turned 18. Well, the day after his birthday. They are the only family he's really had other than Izuku in Class 1A. He loves them. But he also loves Izuku. And if Dad and Papa are going to be hypocritical bigots, then he's more than willing to disown them, even if it will hurt. He walks into the restaurant with Izuku's arm looped around his own, and as confident expression on his face as he can manage. He wears a simple dark grey suit that matches Izuku's, with a purple tie instead of green. He's been half tempted just to have Izuku wear one of his formal wear t-shirts to dinner, but that would probably make a bad impression. The moment he sees Dad and Papa catch sight of them, 2 things happen. Papa gets a smirk on his face and elbows Dad while whispering intently, while Dad sort of just blankly looks at them. Well, at least he wore his nicer suit and tied his hair into a half bun. Papa seems to have pulled out all the stops for this get-together, and by that he means his blonde hair is in a complicated mess of braids. Izuku leans closer into him. Oh my god, I'm about to meet my boyfriend's parents, and they are both heroes, and I am going to die. This is it! They'll kill me, Izuku whimpers. The other man then dissolves into quiet, panicked murmurs that Hitoshi can't even begin to hope to decipher. He usually is pretty good at figuring out what his boyfriend's mumbling about, But the more panicked Izuku is, the worse his mumbling is. They won't kill you, he reassures. They're heroes. They don't kill their children's significant others. Besides, we could take them in a fight. Izuku's expression only becomes more pained. Easy for you to say, Mr. Hotshot in the underground hero ring, he quips. Hitoshi grins. You must be Midoriya, Papa greets as they get to the table. He and Izuku take their seats across from Dad and Papa. Izuku immediately hooking their feet and hands together. Izuku is shaking. That's not super great. Yeah, please, you can call me Izuku, Izuku stammers. He rubs comforting circles into the other man's hands. Nice to meet you. It sure has been a while since Izuku's stutter last made its presence known, but he can understand. Hisashi Yamada, Papa greets him with a smile and an outstretched hand. Izuku takes it shakily. Shoto Aizawa, Dad grunts. You say you wanted to meet us for a reason? He watches as Izuku takes a deep breath before looking up with a determined glint in his eyes. That's Hitoshi and I want to get engaged, but I wanted to meet you properly first. Dad and Papa both freeze. Silence washes over the table, and time seems to stand still for several moments. Dad finally breaks it by turning to Papa, activating his quirk just as Papa opens his mouth to scream. It takes a few moments for Papa to calm down. Hitoshi, you're getting engaged? How long have you been dating? Papa splutters. Izuku's hand grows stock still in his own, and he frowns in confusion. 4 years? I started dating him back in the beginning of 3rd year at UA. I told you this, he says. Both of his dads only gape at him. Izuku turns to him with wide eyes and slightly furrowed eyebrows. Hitoshi, tell me in your exact words how you told them we were dating, Izuku hisses. What's going on? What is Hitoshi missing? I wanted to be casual about it, so I did it in a joke, like you told me to. We were watching the news or something, and Papa commented on how handsome one of the actors was, and I said, if I wasn't already taken, I would totally tap that, he explains. Izuku groans, loudly, and buries his head in his hands. What? What did I do? You are somehow more socially stunted than I am, and I only made friends through you, Izuku says. What is Izuku talking about? You, Dad says. He turns back to meet his dad's gaze, seeing the man's strained features, eyes flickering between red and black. You said that you had a celebrity crush on Hawks. We thought you were talking about your crush on Hawks. We fucking thought you were talking about your crush on Hawks! Wait, so this whole time I thought you hated Izuku was just a big misunderstanding, he asks. I love you so fucking much, but we really need to talk about your communication skills, Izuku responds.